अच्छा चाहिए, सत्कर्म कर हर पल। कर्मों से ही मानव है महान, कर्मों से ही उसकी पहचान। कर श्रेष्ठ कर्म हे मानव, तो बन जाएगा फिर देव समान। कर्मों से ही हे मानव, तू करके कर्म पीछे क्यों पछताता है। जैसा कर्म तू करता है, वैसा ही फल तू पाता है, वैसा ही फल तू पाता है। मर कर भी अमर कहलाता है, जो श्रेष्ठ कर्म कर जाता है। कर्मों से ही मानव है महान, कर्मों से ही उसकी पहचान। कर्मों से ही अपकारी पर उपकार कर, निस्वार्थ स्नेह लुटाए जा। छल कपट ना हो, प्यार ही प्यार हो, रिश्तों को यूं महकाए जा, रिश्तों को यूं महकाए जा। शुभ कर्मों से मुस्कुराती हुई सुखमय सवेरा लाना है। कर्मों से ही मानव है महान, कर्मों से ही उसकी पहचान। कर श्रेष्ठ कर्म हे मानव, तू बन जाएगा फिर देव समान। कर्मों से ही, कर्मों से ही।
Om Shanti. We all were listening to this wonderful song that spoke about karma, is action, and the deepest core of the action, how it shows up in our life. So today we have Dr. Shwetank Bhai with us, who will take us through the good science of karma and its impact in our life. So over to you, Shwetank Bhai.
Yes, Om Shanti. Yes, thank you, Rakibel. So I feel the law of karma is probably the most nuanced law. It has lots of things that we need to understand. Over the past 25 years, I think I have understood a little bit of it, which I'm going to share all my insights. But my understanding of this law of karma is evolving as well. So we'll see what transpires through this conversation that we'll have today. And if you have any questions, we can field them at the end. Now, I also feel that this is the most immutable law of the universe. So, what is it? This is pretty much the law of reciprocity. It's the law of cause and effect, action and consequence. We have heard in Christianity, they say that every seed has a fruit, and as you sow, so shall you reap. In the West, we hear whatever goes round comes around. In India, we have heard more than infinite number of times, I would say, that Jaisi karni, vaisi bharni. Even from the classical Newtonian physics point of view, we know that to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's Newton's third law of motion. So what it really means is that if we do good, we'll get good. If we do bad, we'll get bad. But before we dive deep into the law of karma, we need to understand a few basic things. And the first thing is, what really constitutes an action? You see, many times when we look at the word action, it kind of means that it kind of refers to, for most people, the actual physical action, the manifest action. But actually, every word spoken is also action. Every thought is also an action. So every moment, living moment of our lives, as soon as the soul enters the body to when the soul departs from the body, the soul is performing actions, speaking, thinking, or even dreaming. It's an action. But most importantly, it is the soul who is doing the action through the body. So therefore, it is the soul that will receive the fruit of that action, or in other words, will have to face the consequences of the action. Now, the next question is, what are the different types of action? Now, we talked about it just for a moment earlier, that there are good actions and then there are bad actions. In Sanskrit, there are these words sukarma and vikarma. So vikarma are negative actions, sukarma are positive actions. But there's more to it than which we'll explore later in this conversation. But to understand that actually in the world out there, it's very difficult to fathom what is sukarma and what is vikarma, because there's more to it than what meets the eye. Now, from our point of view, because of the Murlis, because of what Baba has taught us, we know that only when we are in soul conscious state can we do sukarma. And when we are in soul conscious state, we automatically do sukarma. On the other hand, when we are in body conscious state, we automatically do vikarma. So if we want to do sukarma, the only way to do this is to stabilize ourselves in soul consciousness 24/7. All right, so with this little bit of background, now we can enter into the actual law of karma. So think of it this way, that there are two arms of the law of karma: the past, the present, and the future. So all that we have done in the past determines the present moment, how our present moment will show up for us. And what we do in this present moment is what will determine the course of our lives, our future. So I like to use the analogy of as if there is a basket that is hanging around our necks. Now, all the actions that we have done so far, think of it as if a small impression of it, an imprint of it in the form of charge, or ions or charges, positive versus negative, get stored in that basket around your neck. Now, when we talked about actions, there are manifest actions, physical actions, there are words spoken, which are actions as well, thoughts, which are actions as well. So each of these have different weightage from the law of karma point of view. So an actual physical action, let's say we can give it 3 points. So +3 versus -3, if it's a sukarma versus vikarma. Similarly, for words spoken, we can give it +2 or -2. And for thoughts, we can give thoughts +1 or -1. So whatever is the net charge, the net energy that we hold in the basket is the energy we will attract from the universe. Now, this energy will be attracted in the form of a situation. And that situation could be numerous, and we can divide those situations into external situations and internal situations. And external situations can come from other human beings. It could be our family members, it could be our distant relatives, it could be some person off the street, or it could come from an animal, or a cat or dog or snake. Somebody can come and bite, or it could come from nature itself. Storms, hurricanes. A tree can fall on our house, or on our heads, or on our cars. Or it could happen in a way by our own self, as if we are walking out of our houses and maybe we can stumble and fall and break our leg. No one else is involved. It is just us and that doorstep or the threshold. Or it could come from within. My own sanskaras, our own past actions could show up, in the form of laziness. It could come up in the form of jealousy. Or there could be illnesses. There could be physical illnesses. There could be mental illnesses. So many of these that I just described are instances of negative situations. Somebody saying something very negative to us, hurting us, harming us, whether it's our family members or it's people off the streets. You may not know that person could just come and drop you. Or like I was sharing the other examples of cats and dogs biting you, or so on and so forth. But there could also be positive situations, like a family member suddenly leaving a big sum of money for you as inheritance. Or it could be a cat or a dog suddenly showing a lot of affection to you. Or it could be, some good act, that might just come into your life. But all of those things are attracted by us. Whether a positive situation comes to us or a negative situation comes to us, and the intensity with which it comes to us all depends on the energy I hold or we hold within ourselves. So if I hold a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative situations will come, or very big negative situations could come to me. On the other hand, if I hold a lot of positive energy, then I could attract lots of positive situations, or one big positive situation that could make my life amazing. So far, so good. What it really tells us is that we are responsible for what comes our way. You see, if we go back into the basics of Raj Yoga, there are 3 phases, if you will, for all of us Baba's children, that we need to understand on a daily basis. That there is self-awareness, who we are, self-empowerment, that we're connected to the supreme energy. He's our father, the parent, and we are receiving his inheritance. And then self-responsibility, that we are the ones who are responsible for what transpires in our lives. So if we are not happy with the situations that are coming to us, then what we need to do is to change the energy we hold within ourselves. Now, when the situation comes to us, then there is automatically going to be a response to the situation. Either we are going to respond in a negative way or in a positive way. If we respond in a positive way, then it will change the energy that we hold in that basket from negative to positive. It could be a slight positive change, but now we will enter into the next moment with slightly more or largely more positive energy, depending on what was our response in the previous moment. Now, based on the new energy, whether it is more positive, more negative, less negative, or the same, we will attract another situation from the universe. So you see, every moment, how we react, how we respond is going to change our energy, net energy, and therefore change the course of our lives. I like to use another analogy, and that's the analogy of a mirror. So think of the whole universe as a giant mirror, reflecting back to us only what we hold within ourselves. And in a way, the universe is doing a favor to us to reflect back that information to us so that we can fix it. So think of it as if you're waking up in the morning and you're going to the bathroom and you have this big mirror right above your wash basin. And that shows you how you look. And so let's say the image is all disheveled, the hair are all over the place. Now, do you ever get upset with the mirror? No, because you know that mirror is just showing you how you look like. It's revealing the truth to you. In fact, you're grateful to the mirror. But thank you, mirror, for showing me how I'm looking so that I can fix myself before I go to work or before I meet other people. And also, very importantly, you never try to fix the image because that would be a futile attempt. You can keep on trying to fix the hair of your image for all time to come through eternity, and you will fail because that will not work. But the moment you start fixing your own hair, the image starts getting fixed. And the moment you fix your hair completely or fix your appearance, right away, the image gets fixed. So what does that teach us? That we have to fix everything within ourselves, not try to fix anything outside. Because the outside world, which is sharing or giving all this information to us in the form of situations, is actually just an image. And in fact, it is doing us a favor so that we can actually fix ourselves. So on one hand, of course, we need to know that if we do good, we will get good. But at the same time, all the situations that are coming to us are really not good or bad. This is a deeper level of understanding that I have realized over time, that they are merely situations. They are merely mirror images of what is transpiring inside of me, so that I can fix what needs to be fixed. So let's say the mailman comes, shows up, rings the bell, and he has an important letter to give to us, which requires a signature. And while we are receiving that, while we are signing the document that he is asking us to sign, we have a chat with him. And while the chat is happening, we're talking about small talk or whatever, let's say we open that envelope, and in that envelope, it is our CEO who has fired us. So this is a letter, a traditional letter that has been sent rather than an email in the mail, snail mail. And we read it, And then I'm sure there's going to be some effect, right? You might be upset. We might all not be very happy seeing that letter. But do you ever start beating up the mailman? That won't be very effective, right? That would be counterproductive, because now the mailman will never come and deliver mail at our home. So in fact, we are grateful to the mailman. Thank you for delivering this letter. Now, we can look for another job, or do whatever else is needed. Maybe write a letter to the CEO requesting them to reconsider this this firing, this laying off. So think of it from the point of view of all the situations that come to us. It is as if the universe is just sending messengers with messages so that we can start working on ourselves, and whatever needs to be fixed, we can fix. So there is no point in us getting upset with the messenger. All right. So far, so good. Now let's understand the 5 very important tenets of the law of karma. The first is choice. So what does that mean? That every moment, each one of us has infinite number of choices for us to choose from. So when the situation came to us, our response could be any. It could be the most negative response, or it could be the most positive response. Whichever one we choose is going to change the entire trajectory of our lives. And the interesting thing is that we have freedom to choose any of these choices. So that's the second tenet, freedom. Each one is inherently free, despite whatever circumstances that we live in. Maybe we are forced by our family members to take one choice versus the other, or it could be the society that is influencing us. Yet, inherently, internally, we are free to choose our response. So choice and freedom. And the third is responsibility. So freedom and responsibility are 2 sides of the same coin. Responsibility also means total responsibility when we understand the law of karma. See, we love to take responsibility for the good that comes our way, but we fail to take responsibility for not the good things that come our way. You see, we love to blame others for that. But no, law of karma teaches us that everything that's happening to us, everything that's happening in our lives is our responsibility. This truth actually can be hurting for some people, but actually it is liberating. Because when we blame others, it's not going to be helpful. It's going to be counterproductive. It is not anyone's fault. If we start taking responsibility, again, it's not blaming ourselves. Now, there's this lovely Chinese proverb that I keep quoting, that the one who blames others is far away from the destination. The one who blames himself is halfway there. And the one who blames no one has arrived. So it's not about taking blame or anything. It's taking responsibility. Taking responsibility means taking charge of our lives. All right, I'm not happy with where I am right now. I am going to change this so that I can become happy in the future. All right. Now, the 4th tenet is motive or intention. This is very powerful to understand. Sometimes we feel we are doing good, but there can be malintentions in our mind. So the result will still not be good. And at that time, we might feel that why is this happening? I did my best, but was the best good enough? It wasn't, because there wasn't good intention backing that good action. The example of, let's say, one example could be of a surgeon. You see, surgeon taking a knife and cutting someone. Normally we would say that, oh, somebody cutting someone with a knife is a bad thing. But for a surgeon, that's a good action. Once we understand the intention behind it, it is to cure the patient of the tumor versus it is just to give pain to the other person. So the same action with correct intention, correct motive becomes a good action. And if there is wrong intention behind it, becomes a bad action. All right. Now, the fifth tenet is wisdom or knowledge. There is a saying in the West, ignorance is no excuse, which means that it is our responsibility to find out enough information that whether this action that we're doing, even though it may be in the best intention, even the best intention may not lead to a good action if I do not have the right information to back it up. So you see, every action has to be backed by not just good intention, but also good information. So for example, somebody asks for money. It could be a beggar of the streets. Now, if we give that person $5, maybe that person is just asking for $5, but are we aware of why he's asking for that $5? He could be asking for a gun. He's probably maybe just $5 short of buying a gun. And next moment he buys the gun with your $5 and he can go around shooting people. So you see, although you did the best you could with good intention, but because you didn't know better, the action became bad. I can give another example of, let's say, a mom. A mom doesn't know how to really take care of the child, or parents in general. We see that in the West all the time when parents are constantly spoiling the children. And I came to know that that's the same trend in India too. When children ask for something, parents drop everything, rush and get them not just one, but two, three of the same thing. So now the parents' intention is good. They want to give the best to the child. All that they didn't have or they didn't get during their childhood, all the different activities, singing, dancing, all these opportunities that they didn't get during their childhood, now they want to give it to the child. Good intention, but wrong information. Does that help? Probably not. It might help, it might not help. It could overburden the child and break the child's energy. So that may not help. So again, good intention is not enough, and just good knowledge is not enough. So both of these things are important. So really speaking, all these 5 tenets of choice, freedom, responsibility, and that to total responsibility, intention or motive, and finally the wisdom are important. So this is pretty much the law of karma. We can also understand this law of karma from the point of view of accounts, credit versus debit. So whenever we do any actions which are negative, we in a way create a debit, which we will have to pay off at some point. On the other hand, when we do good actions, then it's like a credit that we can use to buy ourselves whatever we want in the future. So for example, if we want happiness, think of it this way, that it becomes the currency to be able to buy happiness, buy peace, buy all the good things that life can offer us, joy, and so on and so forth. So also think of it this way, that all that we have been bestowed with, endowed with, our body, our mind, our wealth, our relationships, our physical possessions, time, these have been given to us for a certain important role. They have, each of these are important for us, but they have been given to us so that we can use these for a higher cause. The body has been given to us so that we can serve others. The mind has been given to us again to be more creative, to serve account with the mind, which we'll have to pay off maybe at the psychologist clinic, or the psychiatrist clinic, or maybe even tossing and turning all night because of insomnia, or maybe depression or anxiety. And similarly with relationships have been given to us so that we can serve them, but oftentimes we end up being very manipulative in those relationships. So again, we would then be creating negative account with the relationships, which we'll have to pay off. It could be, at the divorce court, it could be some counselor's office, or it could be in, some kind of pain and suffering that we experience when our relationships don't work out right. Similarly with material possessions and wealth and time, for all of these, everything that we have around us, everything has been provided to us as a gift. And there is our responsibility that we take care of everything around us in the best possible way. We use our discretion to pick up the right choices that we have in how we handle everything around us. And of course, there is freedom in that, but also taking responsibility, knowing what is right, what's wrong, and having the best intention will allow us to create the best credit account with everything. And all of these things will come back to serve us. You see? One of the most important questions that I get very frequently from people is that sometimes they don't see the effect of the good actions that they're performing. But you see, many times, or they feel that they haven't done anything negative in this lifetime, so why is this happening to them? So it's very important to understand, again, what I was talking about earlier, very, very much in the beginning, that it is the soul that does the action. So if it is the soul doing the action, the soul is eternal. It goes from one lifetime to the next to the next. So things that the soul did in previous lifetimes could result in a fruit or a consequence in this lifetime, or maybe in the subsequent ones. So, some actions bear fruit right away. For example, if you put your hand in fire, right away it would burn. Some actions result in fruit or consequences after many years. Let's say you eat French fries, pakoras every day for a few years. Nothing may happen right away, but many years down the line, you could end up with heart attacks. Or some actions can lead to consequences after many lifetimes. It could be brewing, and one day, just like coffee brews and takes time, so similarly, it could happen sometime in the future. So what we need to understand is that if we continue to do good and do good in the right way, that is, we stay in soul consciousness, whatever comes our way, we do not challenge it. Rather, we respond with positivity. Then we can change the dynamics of what transpires in our lives, and we can change the course of our lives, and we can create the most beautiful future for ourselves. This is the gist of the law of karma. I want to stop here so that you all have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll be able to end with some meditation.
Satanbhai, I have a question on those 5 things that you spoke about. Um, the area where we speak about karma is basis our intention. Yeah. Now, if now, how do we actually correlate or have a connection between intention and action? Because if intention is clear, and if somebody is no, if we put our intention with an anger, so let's take an example, to see to it that somebody corrects his action or her action, one gets angry. Yeah? So the intention is good, but the action that we have taken is through a negative emotion or through a path of anger. Now, how do we define this? Is
So,
that
yeah, it's bad, definitely bad. It becomes weak karma. So you see in mathematics, -1 times -2 becomes -2. So whether it's, 1 minus, so it doesn't help. So basically somewhere we don't understand that being angry or creating a negative emotion is going to do any good or not. So clearly, that lack of wisdom, lack of understanding is playing a big role here. So, although the intention may be right, but doing the wrong action still leads to a wrong result.
so? Which means there has to be a correlation, a direct connection. It's directly connected. Your intention, your actions are in direct proportion. None of them is having a higher say in it. So while we speak about the law of karma, intention and action should simultaneously follow. It cannot be that your intentions are right and your actions move through a, a wrong path.
Right, right. So both have in a way equal weightage. So action, again, it's action that is backed by wisdom, by knowledge. And that's why we listen to the Murli every day. And as we do that, we also understand what is right, what is wrong. And, we also need to understand our intention. So both things are important. And that will lead to the final outcome, which would be very pleasant for us to enjoy.
Yeah, so baseline is awareness. The first point that you mentioned, that any karma that's been done, stabilizing in the soul conscious space will always have a power behind that karma, which will give us the right direction. Yeah. And
Exactly.
maybe and any emotions that are, though their intentions are right, but the way the actions are being taken somewhere is being governed by body consciousness will not reap the right result. So going deep into the law of karma, it is really very, very deep for one to look at it before we come in action, because it is not just
Exactly.
been in action and in thought, but it's deeper than that.
Exactly, exactly. I'll give one more example about intention and knowledge. You see, I know you asked the question about intention, but I want to explain even something more important, that good intention, and I want to emphasize this, that even good intention is not enough. You see, like for example, somebody is a new parent, has never really learned about parenting. Now baby, they love colors. So let's say the baby looks at a tomato, it's just 2 months old, looks at the tomato, big red tomato, and starts crying, I want the tomato, pointing towards the tomato. Now if the mommy or the daddy gives the tomato to the child will die, right? So in the court of law, the mommy or the parent, really, or dad, can't say that I didn't know. Not knowing is not a good excuse. Ignorance is not a good excuse. So not only is the intention important, mom's intention, yes, I want to keep the child happy, that's not enough. I need to know, the mom needs to know what is the right thing to do at every moment. So now I know this can be very tricky for people to understand, that we don't know everything. How do we know everything on this planet? But even in the court of law, even in the world out there, at least we have to have good intention in trying to gather the right information to back up our action. You see? Is it making sense? That we
Yes.
have to at least try our level best to figure out what is right, what's wrong. For example, many times we have patients coming to us, they don't give us all the information about their medical condition. Now, many times it's very possible I might end up giving wrong medicine because the patient is a poor historian. However, it is my responsibility to at least do my best to dig into his charts, his or her charts, or maybe talk to the previous physician, maybe try to get as much information I can. So let's say the patient tells me I have diabetes, but it is my responsibility to also examine the patient and truly figure out whether he has diabetes or not before I give the medicine to the patient. So you see, so this is at minimum responsibility one has to take, to figure out what is right, what's wrong. But now from the larger context of the law of karma, if we are in soul conscious state on a constant basis, the intellect will become so refined that we will be able to see the unseen, hear the unheard, know the unknown. I like to say this for myself. I love to say these three phrases or this whole sentence: to hear the unheard, to see the unseen, to know the unknown. The intellect becomes so refined. So all the information actually becomes available to us in every moment to be able to do the right thing. And then, of course, it has to be backed with the good intention as well. Okay?
Yes. And I think this relates to the example that you gave of a parent right now, and also a few minutes back, it's spoken about how parents are being irresponsible in the parenting act, because today the parents are looking at fulfilling everything that the child wants. So, if I look at deep diving this and reflection on that, is the child doesn't experience failure. And if you don't experience failure, there'll be always a greed that will govern in the overall functioning. Maybe that's the first seed that needs to be taken care of. But yeah, that's the way it is. And I remember in our childhood, even asking something was thinking twice whether the parents will give or not. It's not from the space of scarcity, but a discipline that was being coming in, which is missing at this stage in the parenting act. So that's a simple example to understand a little deeper aspects of karma.
Yes. And it is not the parents' fault either, because you see,
Yes.
they've seen difficult times, for example, and now they have enough resources. So it is kind of natural for the parent to say, hey, I want to give everything to the child. I want to make my child's life as easy, as effortless as possible. So there is no wrong intention. They really want to do the best for the children. Which parent would not want to do the best for the child? But sometimes the parents also get carried away by the forces of the society, in a way, all the the social media and things like that, and then they blow it up. So yeah, this law of karma then helps them understand, because many times parents will come back 20 years later. Oh, I did so much for my children, but now see what has happened. And so from that space of pain and suffering, instead of trying to figure out at that moment, if they had made the right choices earlier on, then this wouldn't have happened.
Om Shanti, brother. So
Om Shanti.
I had a life situation, brother. That is, I am living in a joint family,
Om Shanti.
and
I think Girjaben,
Hello.
one second.
Om Shanti.
Kartika Ben is saying something, Girjaben. Would you like to complete, Kartika Ben? Or you want to go ahead first, Girjaben? Rakhi Ben, you can coordinate. I think
Yeah, so because I see Kartika Ben going mute and Girija Ben, I guess it's a network connection issue because I don't see her.
right.
She
Then Kartika Ben, why don't you say then what you were saying?
Okay, brother. So, brother, actually, I am living in a joint family, and my husband, he's having his brothers and brother family with his kids, everyone, and I am the only in knowledge, and all the earnings are altogether going in a common business. I am doing my job separately, and my earnings is also going there to his business because of his at times hard times comes to him, and it is the situation I have to help him like that. But his brother's family is not that much aware. They are spending too much unnecessarily, and they don't know that they are doing that. And even when I used to say to my mother-in-law or to my husband, it's not effective because that girl is that much stubborn in doing her actions in that wrong way itself.
I definitely
Whether
understand. Yeah.
Mm. So now, whether how can I change this? I understand that this is all because I locked to that family, but I am in loving that family only because in my close relations, my uncle's family only I got married to.
I got your question, Kartika ji. I got your question. So basically, how do you fix this? So let's go into that part. I didn't cover that, but I'm so glad that you have brought this up so we can actually. So there's no point in going into too much of details. We really know that in every household now, there are so many challenges going on. So clearly, we know now that it is probably some actions that we performed in the past. It is the energy that we hold within ourselves at this moment is what is attracting the situation from outside. So what do we have to do is to change our energy. And how do we change our energy? Is the best way is to connect to Baba. The best elixir for all problems in the universe is Baba's remembrance. We know that. So you go into soul consciousness. I am a soul. Connect to the Supreme Soul, Shiv Baba. Allow his energy to flow into you at every moment. This reservoir of energy that you have, this basket of energy, will automatically change from negative to positive every moment. And so every moment you will only attract positive from the universe. The situations will change. Your sister-in-law will change, your mother-in-law will change, your husband will change, your brother-in-law will change. The entire universe will change. When you change, the world changes. I know it is easier said than done. It takes a long time. You see, the caveat in this is that our response to a negative situation, you see, you think of it for a moment. Let's say you hold a lot of negative energy in your basket. Let's say minus 10,000 units. Now you're going to attract a negative situation clearly from the universe. Now, you want to respond to that negative situation in a positive way. However, the problem is that our response to the situation is also partly dependent on the energy we hold within ourselves. So, invariably, our response is also going to be negative. And so, we will end up adding more negative charges in that basket. And so next moment, we're going to attract more negative situations. And you will see that oftentimes that situations in households only get worse over time because of this, because something negative happened, we respond in a negative way, more negative comes to us, we respond in a bigger negative way, a bigger negative situation comes, and it just goes into a vicious cycle, like a chakravyuh. Yeah, Abhimanyu's chakravyuh. So the only way we can come out of it is opening our hearts to Baba, allowing Baba's energy to flow into us. Then the energy will become positive. Our response to the situation will become positive. Automatically, we will continue to attract more and more positive situations, progressively more positive situations from the universe. Everything will get fixed. ठीक है
Thank you,
कार्तिक?
brother. Thank you, brother. Brother, also one thing, how should we know that now we are creating a new karma, or it is some past consequences? So
Yes.
if the people, they are acting without any guilt, I can think it is my past, my actions of past, I am receiving this. So if they feel any guilt for their actions, they may be a new karma. Is it so, brother?
So, Kartika Ben, this is a very complicated question. Beautiful question, but not very easy to really understand. Who knows whether, let's say, I do something negative to the other person, and so that person does something negative to me. Now, we would say that I did the action, and that person's negative action is a consequence of my negative action. But who knows that yesterday, that same person did something negative to me, and that's why I did this negative thing to that person. So my action could be a consequence of something that the person did in the past. So we can go back and forth with this. It won't really help us. Whether that person's negativity is because of us or our negativity is because of the other, at some point we have to break the chain. And how do we do that? From now onwards, I'm going to do only positive. I'm only going to give the best, the most positive in every situation. That's it. See, the other problem with all of us is that we end up looking at snapshots. Baba is teaching us soul consciousness, right? So soul consciousness takes us into a vantage point. We're able to see the whole picture, not just the larger picture, the bigger picture, but the whole picture. So we no longer get stuck in the snapshots. We know that something we did in the past is leading to this situation in the present moment. But as soon as we fix this present moment, our future will be the best ever. So we can see the future, we can see the past, and so we do not get imprisoned in the present moment either. You know, people say that stay in the present moment, stay in the present moment. Actually, many times people get imprisoned in the present moment too. So law of karma releases us, liberates us from all our prisons. Sometimes we are prisoners of the past, sometimes we're prisoners of the future, sometimes we're prisoners of the present moment. So no more being a prisoner, we become free, we become liberated. And that's what Baba is teaching us, how to become karmatit. Yes, this is how we'll become karmatit. When our energy, that basket, will be filled with nothing but positive ions. That's it. We'll attract only the most positive situations from the universe, and our response to them will be nothing but positive. Positive, 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 positive. And that's how we'll then release ourselves from this body, this physical world, and move on. Okay, Ji?
Om Shanti, brother. One more question. So my son is doing his +2 exams now, and very soon, in very few months, he is having about to write that JEE entrance exam for his IIT preparation also. So he's doing well only, but at times he feels so fear about whenever his marks goes down, he goes off thinking like that. But how can I give him such a good confidence or energy, brother?
Very nice, Karthikaban. That's a lovely question. So basically, you have to create the right energy for yourself. So many times, parents are more worried than children for the children's academic performance. Now, think of it. Whatever energy you're holding, you're going to spread that energy around you. So many times, it is not even words spoken. But invariably, you'll end up saying something which will trigger anxiety in the child as well. But many times, it may not be something you speak, it could just be your body language. And that will create more and more anxiety in the child. On the other hand, if you are free, if you are relaxed, if you take it easy all the time, yes, child, I love you the way you are. If you do great, great. If you don't do great, still it's okay. You put in the best effort, that's it. If you're happy with the effort, that's all I need. Things like that. If you're holding that positive energy in your heart, then automatically the child will feel good. He or she will be free from his or her anxiety as well.
Thank you, brother.
In medicine, many times we are told that, we'll have patients who are very fearful of dying. I'm an anesthesiologist, and so many times I will find patients who will tell me, please, doctor, I don't want to die during the surgery, especially as I'm a cardiac anesthesiologist. We have many of these patients coming from very major surgeries, like, open heart surgeries. So before that, they'll be very anxious. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Now, think of it for a moment. If I myself am afraid of dying, then what energy will I be able to transmit to the soul who is coming for the surgery? Fearful energy. If I'm afraid of the consequences, I'm afraid what will happen, what will happen, what will happen, then somehow that patient is going to catch that same energy. On the other hand, if I have reconciled with my life and death, you see, that I know that I'm going to die one day, I'm a soul, this body is mortal, it's like a mortal coil, right? That's how the people in the world describe this. It's going to wither away one day. I'm not afraid of my death, and I'm not afraid of anyone else's death either. So that fearlessness, if you will, that positive energy that I will create will automatically be received by the soul, and the soul will also become free from his or her fear of dying. So you see, I'm just giving you these examples which I have understood over time and I've started practicing in my life and in my profession in general. So
Also,
life in
lastly,
general and profession in particular. Yes.
So lastly, one question, brother. And we know all the law of attraction, saying positive affirmations. So I am on the richest of the rich. That the energy we have that, and similarly, the situations will also the change. Is it so, brother?
Good, dear sister. That's also a good way of doing it. But truly speaking, this is um, I hope it's not taken in a wrong way, but it's a very low level of effort. You see, law of karma actually teaches us the true law of attraction, that you can get good only when you do good. So I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. And then I keep saying that 24/7. And then I go and rob my neighbors, and steal and lie and cheat. And I lead a very deceitful life. How's that going to serve me? All right, maybe I can get money. Maybe let's say I say Mercedes, 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 Mercedes. And let's say tomorrow Mercedes shows up at my doorstep. All right, it's some fluke, some universe's chance, and Mercedes now is sitting in my garage. Now, will that give me happiness? What do I have to do to get happiness? Is to live my life according to the highest ideals that Baba is teaching us.
Yes, truly, brother.
Om Shanti. Maiji, I would just like to add on one reflection here. It's not the wealth, it is the Lakshmi which needs to be attracted, and basically one has to make the endeavor, the Purusharth, the pursuit is to become deserving to imbibe those qualities, and so that, as we say na in yagya, that Lakshmi ko varne ke laik banna hai. So once we inculcate the divine qualities, the wealth is just a byproduct. And when wealth comes along with the Lakshmi, then it is fruitful, and it is you get contentment and all the satisfaction and blissful life. But wealth without Lakshmi is just like a brig Krishna. It's just an illusion which only adds on to the misery, nothing else. Om
Sure.
Shanti.
Very nice, Ombai. Good. So shall we end with some meditation? I think we have crossed the 7:30 mark for me. That is what.
Yes, brother, let's move on to
Right.
meditation.
Okay. So let's remember Baba together for a few minutes. And let's hold the thought that we as souls are now enlightened with the true understanding of law of karma, thanks to Baba. And from now onwards, we will do only the right actions. Right actions that are backed by both good intention and good wisdom. So every moment check, what is the energy you're holding in your basket? If you're holding positive energy, only the positive will come your way. If you're holding any negative energy, you'll automatically attract negative situations from the universe. So while you can't change what's happening to you through the universe, you can change your energy. And the only way to truly change your energy is by connecting to the Supreme Soul, Shiv Baba, our ultimate parent. So let Baba's energy flow into you in this moment. Lots and lots of positive energy. See that basket becoming supercharged with positive energy. And now you'll attract nothing but the best from the universe. And in any case, nothing is punitive in the law of karma. There are no negative situations. Whatever comes to you is either to neutralize your negative energy or to help you understand what you need to fix within yourself. So slowly but surely, see yourself reaching your karmatit stage, free from all suffering, leaving your body as effortlessly as a hair from butter, having cleared all your karmic accounts, having cleared all the negative energy in your basket. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to the Divine Father. Thank you, Shvetank Bhai. I just understood that a karma is a bridge between you and the Supreme Soul. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Until then, have a blissful day.